My name is Eleanor Hayes, and at 31, the chime of the brass bell over the door of the Hearthside Tavern always sounds like a personal greeting to me. It's the soundtrack to my peace. After 2 years of marriage to Ethan Sterling, this bustling, slightly dated Italian joint in the heart of Atlanta, Georgia, feels more like home than the pristine, minimalist house I share with my husband and his perpetually judging mother. I move through the dinner rush with the practiced grace of a seasoned professional. I'm not just a server. I'm the architect of the evening. I see the nervous first date at table 7, the tired couple at table 4 who just need a quiet corner, and the big, boisterous family reunion taking up the entire back section. I manage the flow of conversation, the timing of the entrees, and the subtle, unspoken needs of every person under my care. It's high-level, human-centered logistics, all for a paycheck that barely touches $45,000 a year. But for me, it's honest work that feeds my soul. Ellie, that six-top needs their bread basket refill, and tell Isabel I need the Oso Buco order expedited. They've been waiting 20 minutes, Mr. Angelo, the owner, says, his voice a gravelly, warm bass that always reassuringly. He's not just my boss. He's the patriarch of a beautiful chaos, and he treats me like a respected lieutenant, never a subordinate. You're the only one who can handle the Miller party when they're hungry, Kara. Go on, work your magic. I give him a quick, confident nod, my navy apron feeling like a comfortable shield. Inside the Hearthside Tavern, my worth is simple, measurable, and high. It's defined by my reliability, my empathy, and my ability to keep 6 tables happy simultaneously. Here, I am Eleanor Hayes, the best server they have. The contrast with the Sterling residence in Ansley Park is a physical shock every evening. I step out of the warm, garlic and tomato scented air of the Hearthside Tavern and into the sterile, high-ceilinged silence of my marble-floored house, where the air feels thin and expensive. My mother-in-law, Veronica Sterling, is the ruling presence, a woman whose entire identity is built on lineage, wealth, and the quiet, crushing judgment she levies against anyone who hasn't attended the right schools or, God forbid, worked in the service industry. Veronica is usually sitting in the sunroom, sipping tea, waiting. She never screams or throws things. Her methods are far more insidious, like psychological water torture. Well, dear, Veronica says, not looking up from her financial papers, I trust your shift was productive? I ran into Celeste today. Her daughter, the one who runs the marketing firm, she's looking for a new executive assistant. A real career, Eleanor. We were talking about how Ethan really needs a partner who can contribute to his social standing, not just his laundry pile. The words always sting because they target the heart of my dignity. Veronica doesn't see a hard-working woman paying her bills. She sees a stain on the Sterling family resume, a constant, low-grade embarrassment that Ethan, a successful CPA, has somehow inflicted upon himself. Ethan, my husband, the man I fell in love with for his goofy humor and respect for my independence, is now the worst offender. He has internalized his mother's shame. In the early days of our marriage, he used to brag about my work ethic to his friends. Now, if someone asks about my job at a dinner party, Ethan physically tenses up and quickly interjects. She's exploring different opportunities right now. Just a temporary thing. It hurts the most when Leo, the youngest busboy at the Hearthside Tavern, offers his encouragement. You're smart, Ellie. Too smart for these people who don't get it. You make more people happy in an hour than those finance guys make all day. Leo's honest faith feels precious because it comes without conditions. It's a stark reminder that the professional world, the world Veronica insists I must join, values degrees and connections over basic human decency and real-world competence. I know I'm capable, but Veronica's relentless campaign, a cold, polite war waged on my self-worth, has begun to chip away at my armor. Every night, the smell of garlic and Italian herbs offers me solace, but every morning the sterile, silent air of the Sterling house reminds me of the fight I'm slowly losing. I'm tired of feeling like a failure just for earning an honest dollar. This year, I promise myself things have to change. I will find a way to earn respect, even if it means sacrificing the only job that ever truly respected me. That quiet, desperate resolution is the only thing that makes me turn the key in the front door each evening. The slow, systematic erosion of my self-esteem is Veronica Sterling's masterpiece. She utilizes every holiday, every family gathering, every casual conversation as a perfectly engineered opportunity to remind me of my lower standing. Veronica doesn't resort to shouting. Her disapproval is delivered with a smile, a sympathetic sigh, and a voice dripping with patronizing concern. It's the kind of cruelty that leaves no bruises, only internal scarring. One humid August evening, the Sterlings host a small dinner party to celebrate Ethan's latest accounting promotion. I spend 2 hours agonizing over a conservative navy dress and minimal jewelry to achieve an acceptable level of sophistication. But when I walk into the living room, I'm greeted by the usual ritual. "Ah, Eleanor, there you are!" Veronica announces to the small circle of high-powered guests, lawyers, architects, and Ethan's successful sister, Chloe, a rising executive at a tech firm. Veronica immediately steers me toward the group, her hand resting on my elbow in what feels more like restraining than guiding. This is Ethan's wife. She's currently working in the service industry. The pause before the final 3 words is always the longest, most deliberate silence in the room. It hangs in the air, allowing everyone to absorb the implication. She's a server. Aunt Vivian, the family matriarch from Charleston, raises an eyebrow knowingly. Cousin Claire offers a pained, pitying smile. "How interesting," Claire purrs. "What kind of service work, dear?" Before I can utter a word about the demanding nature of my role, Veronica jumps in, her voice light and airy, preempting any attempt at dignity. "Oh, she's still figuring out her career path, really. Just temporary food service while she finds something more suitable for a CPA's wife." Ethan is so supportive, bless his heart, waiting for her to find her footing. Veronica makes it sound like I'm an aimless, unemployed 20-year-old, not a reliable, employed adult with a strong work ethic. The conversation immediately flows around me, discussing Michael's impending partnership, Chloe's stock options, and Ethan's growing client base. When someone finally asks about my background, Veronica smoothly changes the topic, asking about Chloe's recent engagement to Dr. Andrew Peterson. I feel my identity dissolve in the sterile, air-conditioned room. The emotional low points are the holidays. Thanksgiving that year is particularly brutal. As we go around the polished mahogany table to share what we're thankful for, Veronica makes sure to highlight everyone's professional accomplishments. "I'm thankful for Chloe's engagement to Dr. Peterson," she beams, "and for Ethan's phenomenal growth in his firm. It's wonderful to see young people establishing themselves so professionally." When the gaze lands on me, Veronica simply skips me entirely, moving the spotlight to Ethan's grandfather and his career in real estate. I speak quickly, muttering something about being grateful for family and health, terrified of triggering another lecture. A week later, at Christmas, the messages are less subtle. Chloe receives a gorgeous cashmere scarf and a designer handbag. I receive a book titled Professional Success. the path to six figures, wrapped in newspaper. The message is unmistakable. Everyone else receives gifts. I receive homework, an assignment to become worthy of their acceptance. Even Ethan's attempts at comfort feel like a thinly veiled admission of shame. At his own birthday party in February, when a colleague asks me about my work, Ethan steps and immediately his face flushed. "She's exploring options right now," he states, avoiding my eye contact. It's a transitional period. The man who once loved my independence now treats my job like a family secret, an ongoing embarrassment that he has to manage and hide. I realize the shame in his eyes isn't for me. It's for himself, for having chosen someone who didn't meet his mother's stringent criteria. The family's emotional warfare is systematic, persistent, and slowly reducing my spirit to ash. I feel myself shrinking, questioning everything I believe in, wondering if Veronica is right, that I simply wasn't enough. The humiliation is a slow, persistent drumbeat, but the one constant, the one place where my armor remains intact, is the Hearthside Tavern. Yet, even the sanctuary of the restaurant begins to feel fragile as Veronica's psychological warfare ramps up. I start to internalize the family's judgment, the stress manifesting in ways I can't control. One evening, after the Sterling family had subjected me to another torturous Sunday brunch, where I'd been forced to listen to Ethan's cousin brag about his new role as a junior partner at a prestigious law firm, I find myself sobbing in the quiet, cool air of the walk-in refrigerator at the Hearthside Tavern. It's ridiculous, crying over a brunch. But it's not the brunch. It's the 2 years of being meticulously disassembled by polite society. Isabel, the head cook, a formidable woman with 20 years of grit behind the kitchen line, finds me there. Isabel doesn't ask questions. She simply slides a warm coffee and a small plate of arancini, perfectly crispy and savory, across the steel prep table. Dios mío, chica, Isabel murmurs, her eyes softening. Those people, they try to take your light. I see it in your eyes. Too much fancy talk, not enough respect. I try to wipe my eyes, embarrassed. It's just my mother-in-law, Veronica. She makes me feel like I'm wasting my life. Like this job, this honest work, is a failure. Ethan agrees with her now, Isabel. He just wants me to be more suitable. Isabel leans back, crossing her arms. Listen to me, Mija. That woman, she doesn't respect work. She respects money, position. But she cannot look you in the eye and call you lazy, no? You are here. You show up. You care about the food and the customers. That takes character. They try to make you think you're not good enough, but look around here. You handle 6 tables during rush hour, remember every order, and keep customers happy even when they're difficult. They don't teach that in fancy schools. Isabel's genuine maternal pride is the antidote to Veronica's toxic influence. It reminds me that skills aren't only learned in an MBA program. They're earned through hustle, pressure, and heart. Leo, the youngest staff member, is equally encouraging. He's a college student working his way through school, and he idolizes my efficiency. Ms. Ellie, those companies are blind. You're the smartest person in this room, managing inventory, and people flow better than anyone. They don't know what they're missing. Just keep at the classes. You'll get out. But the struggle is deepening. The financial strain of my improvement campaign is creating new fissures at home. I have enrolled in evening business classes at a local community college. Introduction to business, basic accounting, paying the hefty fees with money I'd saved for new furniture. Ethan, already stressed by his accounting practice, starts questioning every expense. Interview clothes? Another textbook? Ellie, We're spending more money trying to get you a job than you'd earn in the first 3 months. Maybe you should focus on finding stable work first, not more school. His practical observation feels less like financial prudence and more like abandonment. It's Veronica's voice echoing, "Lower your expectations." The worst blow arrives with Aunt Vivian, who pulls me aside during Easter dinner to help with the dishes. "You know, dear," Vivian whispers conspiratorially, scrubbing a wine glass with excessive force, "Veronica just wants what's best for Ethan. He deserves a wife who can contribute, well, properly. Have you considered a full 4-year degree? Community college is a good start, but real career advancement usually requires a proper university education." The words are a perfect reflection of the family consensus. My efforts are perpetually inadequate. Veronica has successfully framed my steady job as temporary confusion, and my attempts at education as a half-hearted gesture. I excuse myself to the powder room and cry quietly, staring at my reflection. I'm not just losing the battle. Veronica is successfully rewriting my entire identity, turning honest work into something shameful that requires constant apology. This moment, the public shame, Ethan's complicity, and the genuine, painful loss of my identity becomes the absolute breaking point. I realize the only way to win is not to conform, but to escape. The morning after hearing Veronica's devastating phone call, where my mother-in-law had, without a shred of doubt, prayed for Ethan to come to his senses and end the marriage, I sit at my laptop with a cold, clear determination. If Veronica is praying for my destruction, I will prove her wrong by becoming the professional success Veronica claims I deserve. But the journey is brutal. The glow of job search websites, LinkedIn, Indeed, Monster, illuminates my face, but my resume feels like a cruel joke. 1 page. 3 years as a lead server at the Hearthside Tavern. A high school diploma. Scattered customer service experience from my college gap year. I stare at the blank sections where the prestigious university degrees and corporate accomplishments should have been. The silence of the application forms echoing Veronica's dismissive voice. Real qualifications, proper preparation. I spend days rewriting my job descriptions, inflating the reality with strategic corporate jargon. Managed multiple client relationships simultaneously while maintaining high satisfaction ratings translates to I handled 6 tables during the Saturday night rush. Coordinated, complex service delivery under time-sensitive conditions means I made sure the food runner didn't drop the veal parm. The words feel fraudulent, yet online career articles insist this is how you bridged experience gaps. The cover letters are an obsession. I wake up before dawn to personalize messages for every administrative assistant position, customer service manager role, and entry-level marketing gig across 3 counties. Each letter takes an hour, explaining how my restaurant background had prepared me for professional rigor. I highlight reliability, communication skills, and the ability to work under pressure. The rejection emails begin to flood my inbox within the week. The first one arrives from a dental office. Thank you for your interest, but we are seeking candidates with specific medical office experience. The second from a mid-sized insurance firm. We require applicants with college-level education for this role. By the end of the month, my inbox is a graveyard of polite dismissals, all delivering the same message. I wasn't qualified for anything better than my current situation. The most humiliating experience is the interview at Henderson Insurance Company for an account management position. The corporate office, all glass, steel, and intimidating marble, makes me feel instantly underdressed despite my best attempt at power casual. Mrs. Henderson, the hiring manager, a woman in a sharp suit with an icy smile, looks at my resume for exactly 30 seconds before placing it aside as if it were contaminated. "Your background is quite limited for this position, Ms. Hayes," Mrs. Henderson states, not bothering to conceal her disappointment. "We typically hire candidates with prior insurance experience or business degrees. What, precisely, made you think you'd be qualified for account management?" My carefully rehearsed answers about transferable skills and eagerness to learn die in the sterile air of the conference room. Mrs. Henderson actually checks her platinum wristwatch while I speak, making it explicitly clear that I am wasting both their time. "Perhaps you should consider positions more aligned with your current skill set," she suggests, ending the interview 15 minutes early. The 20-minute drive home from that disaster is the longest I've ever endured. I sit in the car, hands gripping the steering wheel, replaying the patronizing smile, the judgment in the manager's eyes. Veronica's voice echoes in my skull. Some people just aren't meant for professional environments. Ethan, finding me defeated one night, offers no real comfort. "Maybe you're aiming too high, too fast, Ellie," he suggests, echoing his mother's insidious message that I should lower my expectations rather than raise my qualifications. I realize then that the external rejections are only amplifying the internal damage Veronica had already inflicted. I am fighting two wars, one against the professional world stonewall, and one against the psychological sabotage of my own family. And I am losing both. My enrollment in the community college evening program, Introduction to Business, Basic Accounting, becomes my next desperate bid for acceptance. I crave the validation of a formal education, the paper certificate that Veronica claims is the prerequisite for dignity. I pay the tuition using nearly all of my emergency savings, seeing it as an investment in my survival, not just my career. The first night in class is a shock of a different kind. The students aren't wide-eyed graduates. They are mostly working professionals, a paralegal, a logistics manager, a project coordinator, all seeking advancement or career pivots. They speak confidently about their corporate experiences, tossing around acronyms and industry slang that leave me feeling lost and profoundly isolated. While they discuss mentors and industry contacts, I realize the professional world isn't just a matter of intelligence. It's a matter of access, and I have none. Professor Martinez, however, sees something in me that the corporate world misses. He is an older man, a practical, no-nonsense former small business owner who values real-world problem-solving over abstract theory. His first major project is on professional networking and required interviewing someone in their desired field. I am paralyzed. I go to Professor Martinez's office hours, ready to admit defeat. "Professor, I don't know anyone," I confess, my voice tight with shame. My work history is just restaurant work. It's impossible for me to approach these people. Professor Martinez adjusts his reading glasses. "Ms. Hayes, I've read your assignments. They are excellent. Your grasp of customer relationship management is surprisingly nuanced. Where do you think that comes from?" "The Hearthside Tavern, I admit. You deal with difficult people. You anticipate needs. You handle pressure. It's constant problem-solving." "Exactly," he says, nodding slowly. "That, right there, is corporate competency. The difference is you've earned it on your feet, not sitting in a cubicle. Don't interview a finance VP. Interview Mr. Angelo. Interview your head chef, Isabel. Ask them how they manage vendor relationships, how they handle employee turnover. You have a valuable perspective, practical experience. Use it. For 3 hours a week, Professor Martinez's class becomes my refuge. I excel in my assignments. My written communication is sharp and I use my customer service anecdotes to illustrate theoretical concepts, impressing my classmates and the professor alike. For the first time in months, I feel valued, smart, and capable. But those feelings evaporate the moment I step back into the Sterling house. Ethan's reaction to my academic success is lukewarm at best. When I excitedly show him my A- on the accounting midterm, he glances at it absently while scrolling through his phone. "That's great, Ellie. Maybe Veronica will finally be impressed when you finish the program," he says. His response reduces my hard-won achievement to mere ammunition in the ongoing war for his mother's approval, rather than recognizing my personal growth. It's a slap in the face. My self-worth is still conditional on Veronica's opinion. The financial pressure continues to mount. The tuition, the books, the gas money for interviews that went nowhere. It strains our already tight budget. Ethan suggests we take a break from the job search. "You're spending too much trying to escape a job you already have, Ellie. Focus on school, then worry about the rest." His advice is logical, but emotionally devastating. It feels like he's subtly pushing me to surrender to Veronica's timeline, suggesting that the fight for my dignity isn't worth the cost. Meanwhile, my distraction at the Hearthside Tavern becomes noticeable. Mr. Angelo pulls me aside during a quiet Tuesday. "You're tired, Cara. Your smile is forced. Is everything all right at home?" I can't bring myself to explain the toxic web of domestic cruelty. Instead, I blame general stress and promise to do better. But Isabel, the head cook, understands without being told. She'd slip me an extra espresso or a small plate of her favorite cannoli, a silent gesture of solidarity. "Education is good," Isabel says one evening, wiping down her station. "But don't let anyone make you ashamed of honest work. They are the ones with shame, not you." Isabel's wisdom is a fragile lifeline, reminding me that my moral compass is still intact, even if my life feels like it's spinning out of control. The crushing weight of constant dismissal comes to a head on a rainy Tuesday afternoon. I have returned home early from a particularly discouraging meeting with a career counselor who had bluntly suggested I temper my expectations. I am tired, defeated, and ready to collapse into bed, but as I walk through the hall, I hear voices coming from the sunroom. Veronica is on the phone, and her voice is low, conspiratorial, and disturbingly earnest. I freeze, instinctively retreating behind the corner of the staircase, my heart thumping against my ribs. Veronica is talking to her old friend, Celeste, the retired executive. "I keep praying he'll come to his senses before it's too late, Celeste," Veronica sighs, her voice laced with what sounds like deep maternal pain. "Ethan is such a good boy. He deserves someone who can enhance his life, someone who can contribute properly, not someone who holds him back with all this restaurant nonsense." A beat of silence. I can picture Veronica shaking her head, the picture of aristocratic despair. The girl has a good heart, I suppose, but she simply lacks the drive, the background. The gap is too wide, Celeste. 2 years, and she's still serving tables. I've done everything I can to gently guide him, but I worry. I truly worry that she'll drag him down. Sometimes I pray that he finds the courage to simply cut his losses. For his future, you understand. The words cut through me with the surgical precision of a trained assassin. It's not just disapproval of my job. It's a prayer for my annihilation. Veronica isn't just passive-aggressively criticizing me. She is actively campaigning for the destruction of my marriage, hoping her son would cut his losses, treating me like a failed business investment. Standing in my own hallway, listening to my mother-in-law pray for the end of my life with Ethan, I feel a searing clarity. The entire battle I have been fighting, the job search, the night classes, the endless striving for acceptance, is rigged. It was never about proving my worth. It was about Veronica wearing me down until I either transformed into a carbon copy of Chloe or simply disappeared. That night I do not cry. Instead, a cold, hard resolve sets in. I stop trying to win Veronica's approval. I stop obsessing over tailored resumes and networking events. I shift my focus. I have been desperately fighting to stay in a family that doesn't want me. Now, I decide to fight to leave with my dignity intact. My internal monologue is sharp and decisive. I will not be a burden. I will not be the failed project. If he wants to cut his losses, I will make sure he loses everything that mattered. I begin working extra shifts at the Hearthside Tavern, not for Ethan's approval, but for my own financial independence. I start funneling money into a separate, discrete account. I am still applying for jobs, but my focus is no longer local or corporate. I type in keywords like hospitality management, customer service excellence, and most importantly, relocation. I am looking for an escape route, a fresh start 400 miles away, where no one knows Ethan, no one knows Veronica, and no one knows my life story as the server who married up. I keep going to my classes, but the motivation has changed from seeking approval to seeking a weapon. I learn the vocabulary of business, not to impress Veronica, but to build my own defenses. I learn about assets and liabilities, recognizing that in Veronica's eyes, I am the latter. 3 days before my 31st birthday, the birthday Veronica has been planning with suspicious enthusiasm, I am back at my laptop. I have sent out dozens of applications to out-of-state luxury hotels, seeing them as the natural evolution of my skills at the Hearthside Tavern. It's a shot in the dark, a final act of desperation mixed with defiance. My current shift is listed in my calendar as Greenwich Hotel Guest Services Coordinator, submitted February 14th. I've almost forgotten I'd applied. I am just about to close my laptop and head to the Hearthside Tavern when my phone buzzes with an unknown number. Usually I ignore them, but today I'm tired of feeling disconnected from the world that keeps rejecting me. I pick up. It is a small decision that will rewrite my entire destiny. My hands are slightly sweaty as I answer the unfamiliar number. Telemarketers and debt collectors are my usual callers. I'm bracing myself for another canned sales pitch. Hello, is this Eleanor Sterling? The woman's voice is professional but warm, lacking the cold, rushed efficiency I've come to dread from corporate HR calls. This is Eleanor Hayes. Yes. I correct her almost instinctively. Ms. Hayes, this is Sarah Jenkins from the Grandview Plaza in Seattle, Washington. I head up human resources. I hope I'm not calling at a bad time. My heart does a strange flip. The Grandview Plaza. It's a name I barely remember. A sprawling, 5-star luxury resort I'd applied to 6 months ago during a desperate, late-night session, casting my digital resume into the void of the internet. It's in a whole different state, Washington. No, not at all. I manage, grabbing a pen and paper. Wonderful. We received your application for our guest services coordinator position some time ago, and I was wondering if you're still interested in discussing opportunities with our team. I have to sit down. This feels impossible. After months of silence, after dozens of rejections, someone is actually calling about a job, treating my application like it has value, not immediately filing it under unqualified. Yes, absolutely, Ms. Jenkins. I am very interested. Sarah Jenkins laughs, a genuine, encouraging sound that is a balm to my wounded spirit. Excellent. I have to tell you, Ms. Hayes, your restaurant experience really caught our eye. We find that candidates with your kind of background often excel in luxury hospitality because you understand customer service from the ground up. You've been managing the highest stakes customer interactions for years. That's a skill set we value deeply. Her words are revolutionary. Someone is praising my serving experience, not apologizing for it or suggesting I overcome it. Veronica had spent 2 years insisting the Hearthside Tavern was a stain on my record, and now a 5-star hotel sees it as a gold standard credential. Sarah goes on to explain that the Grandview Plaza specializes in creating exceptional, customized guest experiences. They value employees who understand service excellence through practical application, not theoretical training. My years at the Hearthside Tavern aren't a liability to overcome. They're the very qualifications that put me above the competition. We offer comprehensive training programs for career development, Sarah continues. Specifically, we're looking to fast-track coordinators into our management track. Our benefits package is robust, full health, dental, vision, and educational assistance. The benefits Sarah describes surpass anything Ethan's accounting firm offers him. Health insurance is a constant, crippling expense for us, and retirement planning is something Veronica always said I was too unstable to deserve. Then comes the final, shocking detail. There's one more aspect that might interest you, Ms. Hayes. The role includes company-provided housing in our employee residential building. It's a furnished apartment with utilities included. Just a 5-minute walk from the hotel. It's an easy transition for staff relocating. Free housing. Independence. 400 miles away from Veronica's disapproving presence. A fully funded escape route. The distance feels like an impossible dream that someone is offering as a tangible reality. The salary range she quotes, $55,000 to $58,000 annually, is nearly $10,000 more than I make at the Hearthside Tavern, even with great tips. It is the financial independence that will transform my entire situation. I realize this is a big decision given the relocation, Sarah concludes, but we are genuinely impressed and think you'd be an excellent fit for our team culture. Would you be interested in scheduling a phone interview later this week to discuss details? My mind races through the possibilities. Professional respect, financial security, physical distance from the toxic marriage, and a chance to prove my worth in an environment that values my existing skills. Everything I have been desperately seeking is being offered by someone who sees potential instead of limitations. I would love to schedule an interview, I say, my voice stronger and clearer than it had been in months. This opportunity sounds incredible. I hang up, a powerful sense of hope bubbling up inside me, replacing the constant anxiety that had become my default state. I know then that I have already won, regardless of what Veronica had planned for my birthday. The irony of the situation is a cold, satisfying knot in my stomach. Veronica is meticulously crafting a cruel birthday surprise designed to destroy my marriage and humiliate me publicly. Meanwhile, I am holding the real surprise, a job offer that will not only free me, but will validate every single skill Veronica has relentlessly dismissed. I decide instantly to keep the news secret until my birthday celebration. Veronica has spent 2 years trying to prove I wasn't good enough for Ethan or their family standards. Now, I will reveal that not only am I good enough, but I am moving beyond their limited vision of my potential entirely. The decorated envelope Veronica is preparing will pale in comparison to the real gift I am holding, the evidence that their judgment had been wrong all along. The phone interview with Sarah Jenkins takes place 2 days later. I lock myself in the master bedroom while Ethan is at work. The conversation is fluid, focused on real-world scenarios that I can answer confidently, drawing from my vast experience at the Hearthside Tavern, handling demanding clients, managing priorities during peak hours, and maintaining a professional demeanor under duress. Your references from the Hearthside Tavern are glowing, Sarah confirms, a rustle of papers audible on her end. Mr. Angelo spoke highly of your reliability and customer relationship skills. That's exactly the foundation we build on here at the Grandview Plaza. Hearing my current boss validate me to a potential new one feels like the ultimate vindication after months of being told my experience was inadequate. The formal job offer arrives via email that afternoon, a pristine PDF document with the elegant letterhead of the Grandview Plaza. Guest Services Coordinator. Starting salary, $55,000. Comprehensive benefits. Employee housing included. I print 3 copies, folding one carefully to carry in my purse like a talisman. That evening at the Hearthside Tavern, I moved through my shift with a renewed, almost buoyant energy. My regular customers noticed the change immediately. Mrs. Patterson, who comes in every Monday, comments, "Eleanor, you're glowing tonight. Happier than I've seen you in months." The secret knowledge of my escape plan feels powerful and precious. Ethan's call the next morning seals the deal. "Mom wants to take you out for your birthday tomorrow," he says, excitement obvious in his voice. She insisted on the Hearthside Tavern, said it would be meaningful to celebrate where you work. I almost laugh. Ethan's interpretation is so naive. He genuinely believes his mother is finally acknowledging my workplace, seeing it as a sign of progress. I, however, know Veronica's choice is calculated for maximum public effect, to humiliate me in my comfort zone. "That's wonderful," I say, managing to sound genuinely touched. I can't believe she wants to celebrate at the Hearthside Tavern. I guess she's finally accepting my job. Ethan pauses, a hesitation that lasts just long enough to plant the seeds of hope that will make the final revelation even more meaningful. "I think she's beginning to understand what makes you happy, Ellie. She wants this birthday to be special." Special indeed, I think. Chloe's text message follows shortly after, adding to the suspicious excitement. "Can't wait for tomorrow night. This birthday will definitely be memorable." I spend the rest of the day planning my exit. The job offer letter is secured in my jewelry box. I practice my announcement in the bathroom mirror, aiming for a balance of calm dignity and devastating impact. I have some wonderful news to share with all of you. I rehearse. 3 days ago, I was offered a position at the Grandview Plaza, and I accepted. The words feel powerful, promising to rewrite the narrative Veronica had spent 2 years creating. I imagine Veronica's shocked face, Ethan's crestfallen expression, and Chloe's grudging respect. The woman who had prayed for my failure is about to witness my greatest triumph. Thursday morning, my 31st birthday, is an adventure in self-reclamation. I treat myself to luxuries I had long deferred. I go to my favorite salon, Sandrine's, and justify the expense as an investment in my future professional image. Sandrine, who has been cutting my hair for years, immediately notices the transformation. "You're absolutely radiant today, Ellie," Sandrine says, styling my hair into soft, sophisticated waves. "Something monumental must be happening in your life." "Something wonderful is," I confirm, watching my reflection. "I can't talk about it yet, but tonight is going to change everything." Sandrine's knowing smile feels like silent encouragement from another woman who understands the quiet battles one fights for self-worth. I choose my outfit with surgical precision. I settle on a deep emerald green sheath dress, a color Veronica had once dismissively called too aggressive for a casual hostess. That looks professional but approachable. The fabric feels expensive and empowering against my skin. I want to look like the woman I am about to become. The anticipation during the drive to the Hearthside Tavern feels electric. I practice my lines at every red light, the folded job offer letter secured in my clutch like a winning lottery ticket. I want to share some wonderful news with all of you. I've been offered a position as guest services coordinator at the Grandview Plaza in Seattle. The salary is $55,000, plus benefits and housing. The words are potent, transforming me from Veronica's disappointing daughter-in-law into a professional success story who exceeded all their ridiculous demands. As I pull up to the Hearthside Tavern, Mr. Angelo waves from behind the counter, clearly puzzled to see me arriving as a customer instead of an employee. Tonight, I will finally be able to tell him about my career advancement, thanking him for the foundation he had helped me build. Ethan meets me at the door, unusually affectionate. He holds me close and whispers, "Tonight's going to be a day you'll never forget, Ellie. My family really stepped up for this." His excitement is palpable, but something about it, the palpable sense of anticipation, feels more like anxiety than loving excitement. We walk into the warm, familiar, herb-scented dining room. Mr. Angelo booms his usual welcome, his genuine smile a stark contrast to Veronica's polite, strained expression as she surveys the red vinyl booths and handwritten specials board. Veronica is making an effort, but her eyes convey that the establishment clearly doesn't meet her usual standards. As we settle into the corner booth, the very booth I had suggested for privacy, Ethan is jumpy. He keeps checking his phone under the table, responding to texts with satisfied, yet nervous grins. When I ask about his work, his answers are distracted and brief. It is a perfectly synchronized, highly rehearsed performance. Throughout dinner, Veronica's conversation feels artificial. She asks about my community college classes with false interest, her usual pointed criticisms replaced by an unsettling, almost manic pleasantness. "You've been working so hard to improve yourself, dear," Veronica says, her voice dripping with artificial sweetness as we wait for dessert. "It's admirable, your determination, despite all the challenges." The words sound supportive, but I recognize the tone. It is a setup, a carefully constructed pedestal from which to deliver the final, crushing blow. Chloe snorts quietly, quickly covering it with a cough when I glance her way, confirming the conspiracy. The birthday cake, a tiramisu layered with candles, appears as we finish dinner, carried by Sandrine, one of the newer servers. As the entire restaurant begins singing "Happy Birthday," regular customers join in, creating a chorus of genuine affection that makes my heart swell. This is my community, my real family. "Make a wish," Ethan prompts, positioning his phone to capture the moment. He is filming ready. I close my eyes and wish for the courage to share my news gracefully. When I blow out the candles, the smoke doesn't carry a wish for acceptance. It carries a prayer for strength. I am ready. Veronica's applause is sharp and hollow, slicing through the remnants of a happy birthday song. The moment Sandrine sets the cake down, Veronica reaches into her designer handbag with theatrical ceremony, withdrawing the decorated, pale pink envelope I had seen her preparing days earlier. "We have a very special gift for you," Veronica announces, her voice rising to carry across the nearby tables. "From all of us." She holds the envelope high enough for other diners to see the silver lettering that spells out "Happy Birthday" and the innocent butterflies dancing around the edges. Chloe's phone instantly appears in her hand, aimed at my face, and Ethan, still recording, adjusts his angle. Their coordination is perfect. They had rehearsed this moment. They want to capture my devastation for posterity, a permanent record of their victory. My humiliation is their entertainment, professionally documented. "Open it, dear," Veronica urges, her eyes bright with a predatory satisfaction that I no longer mistake for grandmotherly joy. The envelope feels heavier than expected. My fingers tear the paper, revealing official legal documents folded neatly inside. The formal language of legal letterhead hits me first, followed by two bold, imposing lines of text that seem to grow larger as I stare at them. Petition for dissolution of marriage. Divorce papers. On my birthday. In my workplace. In front of the community that loves me. The innocent-looking envelope is a weapon designed for maximum public destruction of my dignity. The restaurant's buzz fades as nearby diners sense the drama unfolding at the corner booth. My breath catches, not in devastation, but in a surge of cold, focused clarity. Veronica's radiant, triumphant smile confirms it. This is no mistake. Ethan's phone remains steady, recording. They want the breakdown. They want the tears. They want the scene. Time seems to slow as I stare at the divorce papers. They are thorough and complete, requiring only my signature to dissolve the marriage permanently. Veronica, ever prepared, has brought an engraved gold pen. "Well, Veronica," I prompt, my voice steadier than I had expected, my calm a weapon they hadn't anticipated. "Aren't you going to say something?" Veronica, slightly thrown by my composure, recovers quickly. "We thought this was the most honest path, dear. A fresh start for Ethan, a chance for you to pursue whatever you're suited for. Sign the papers and we can all move on." Instead of begging or creating the scene they had paid for, I reach for the pen. My hands don't tremble. With handwriting that is cleaner and firmer than it had been in years, I sign my name on the dotted line, Eleanor Hayes. The ink marks the end of my marriage, but also the beginning of the life they thought I didn't deserve. Veronica's triumphant expression falters completely. Ethan's phone wavers. "That's it." Ethan stammers, his voice barely audible, disappointment etching itself onto his face. "You're not going to fight this or ask questions." I calmly fold the papers and return them to their decorative envelope. I stand up from the booth, my dignity intact, leaving the three sterlings staring up at me in bewilderment. "Thank you," I say, my voice clear and strong. "This is actually the most generous gift you could have given me." Then, as Veronica's face shifts from satisfaction to confusion, I reach into my own clutch bag, withdrawing my secret weapon, the official letterhead of the Grandview Plaza. The air in the Hearthside Tavern becomes so thick that I feel I can cut it with a knife. The sterlings are frozen, their moment of orchestrated triumph having imploded into an unexpected, shocking silence. I hold the divorce papers in one hand and my future in the other. "I have some news to share as well," I announce, my voice ringing clearly across the hushed restaurant. I look directly at Veronica, meeting the older woman's gaze with unflinching confidence. 3 days ago, I was offered and accepted a position as a guest services coordinator at the Grandview Plaza. Veronica's mouth drops open. Chloe's phone slips in her grasp, her face cycling from gleeful anticipation to stunned disbelief. Ethan's camera captures only his own shocked, pale reflection in the black screen. The salary is $55,000 annually. I continue, letting the number sink in. With full benefits, paid educational assistance, and company-provided housing included. The position starts in 2 weeks. Each detail is a small explosion in Veronica's meticulously constructed narrative of my failure. And here's the most beautiful part, Veronica, I say, pulling the official letter from my clutch to show them the professional letterhead. They specifically recruited me because of my background at the Hearthside Tavern. They said my experience here demonstrates exactly the kind of client management, poise, and excellence they value for advancement in luxury hospitality management. The revelation is devastating. The thing Veronica had used for 2 years to humiliate me, my serving job, is in fact the key that unlocked my success. The restaurant erupts. Mr. Angelo, who has been watching from behind the counter, lets out a massive, joyful cheer. Eleanor, that's wonderful news. The Grandview Plaza is getting one of our finest, Veronica. She's smart, dedicated, and respected by everyone here. This hotel is lucky to have her. His public endorsement validates my character in front of the very witnesses Veronica had invited to my execution. Isabel emerges from the kitchen, flour still dusting her apron, her face beaming with genuine maternal pride. "Chica, you deserve this," she calls out, her voice thick with emotion. "Show them what the Hearthside girls can do when they are given real chances." Leo, the busboy, drops his cleaning cloth and starts a furious round of applause, infectious excitement spreading through the restaurant staff like wildfire. Regular customers who have watched me work hard and endure the silent judgment stand up from their tables, adding their voices to the celebration. Mrs. Patterson, her regular Monday customer, raises her water glass. "To Eleanor Hayes and her bright future," she declares. Veronica is speechless, her triumphant smile completely erased, replaced by an expression that looks disturbingly like fear. She had expected to deliver a devastating blow to a vulnerable woman, not hand freedom to someone who had already secured her independence and professional vindication. Her perfectly planned moment of public execution is collapsing into a public spectacle of her own cruelty. You knew about this job when you signed those papers." Ethan finally stammers, his voice choked with the sickening realization that he has been completely outmaneuvered. His phone hangs forgotten in his lap. "I received the offer 3 days ago," I confirm, watching his face pale as the timeline clicks into place. "The same day you all started acting suspiciously excited about my birthday celebration. The timing, Ethan, was perfect. Your mother's cruelty simply eliminated the only obstacle preventing me from accepting the opportunity, my marriage to you. I stand tall, a woman reborn, validated, and free. The applause in the Hearthside Tavern continues, a rolling wave of genuine affection that completely drowns out the corner booth where the Sterling family sits in stunned, silent shame. I remain standing, holding the evidence of my freedom and my future. Veronica attempts to regain control, her voice rising slightly, desperate to reclaim the narrative. "This is all very sudden, dear. Perhaps you should think carefully before making such drastic decisions. You are throwing away 2 years of marriage for a temporary hotel job." Her use of the endearment, dear, now sounds pathetic and desperate, coming from the woman who had just handed me divorce papers as a party favor. "I've been thinking for 2 years, Veronica," I reply, my voice calm but penetrating. Every criticism, every comparison to Ethan's more suitable ex-girlfriends, every suggestion that I wasn't good enough for this family, all of it led me to this moment. You were right about one thing, Veronica. I do deserve better. The restaurant's applause grows louder at my words. Other diners have pieced together enough of the situation to understand that they are witnessing a woman's liberation from a toxic, judgmental family. The beautiful thing about timing, I continue, my gaze unwavering as I fix it on Veronica, is that your gift of divorce papers arrived exactly when I was ready to accept freedom. I don't have to choose between my marriage and my self-respect anymore. You've made that decision beautifully simple. Chloe, finally lowering her phone, looks visibly uncomfortable. The video they had intended to share as entertainment would now document their family's stunning cruelty and their public failure. They had come to the Hearthside Tavern as executioners, but found themselves defendants in a trial of public opinion, with the entire staff and customer base acting as the jury. Veronica's purse, sitting open beside her, looks ridiculous. The decorative envelope that had delivered the divorce papers is pathetic and childish, its innocent butterflies mocking the darkness of its intended purpose. Ethan finally finds his voice, though it is strained and uncertain. "You're really leaving? Just like that?" His question reveals how little he understood the damage his family had inflicted, or how thoroughly they had destroyed my desire to remain in their world. "I'm really free," I correct him, emphasizing the word that captures what this moment truly meant. Free to work where I'm valued, free to live where I'm respected, and free to build relationships with people who celebrate my success instead of planning my failure. Mr. Angelo comes around the counter one last time, his weathered hands clasping mine with a fatherly pride that feels more genuine than anything Ethan had offered in 2 years. "Eleanor is going to be amazing," he tells the Sterlings directly. "We are going to miss her terribly, but the Grandview Plaza is gaining a star. You should be proud of her, not this." Ethan stares at the job offer letter, the luxury hotel logo, and the salary number, like it is written in a foreign language. 2 years of supporting his mother's criticism has just cost him a wife who is walking away with professional success, financial independence, and the moral high ground he had helped them steal from me. He is processing the catastrophic cost of his own cowardice. I take a long, final look at the 3 faces: Veronica's horrified silence, Chloe's disbelief, and Ethan's hollow regret. The weight of 2 years of conditional acceptance lifts from my shoulders. I turn and walk toward the door, leaving my signed divorce papers and my toxic marriage behind. As the brass bell chimes behind me, signaling my exit, I feel the cool, clean evening air wash over my face. I am Eleanor Hayes again. 2 weeks later, I stand in the gleaming, marble-floored lobby of the Grandview Plaza in Seattle, Washington. I am wearing the sleek, professional uniform of the guest services coordinator, a nameplate on my chest reading Eleanor Hayes. The elegant script of my maiden name feels like armor, a badge of honor I have earned back. My employee apartment, small but beautifully designed, with large windows overlooking the city skyline, becomes my sanctuary. No one criticizes my choices, questions my worth, or makes me feel like an unwelcome guest in my own home. I drink my morning coffee in peaceful silence, the absence of Veronica's low, judgmental sigh a constant, beautiful relief. Sarah Jenkins, my supervisor, quickly becomes more than a boss. She is a true mentor. Sarah trusts my Hearthside Tavern experience implicitly, assigning me to handle VIP, guest relations, and demanding clientele immediately. Your restaurant background gives you instincts other coordinators have to learn through training. Ellie, Sarah explains during my first 30-day review. You read people naturally, anticipate needs before they're expressed, and handle pressure without losing composure. Those skills are exactly what luxury hospitality requires. I thrive. The management training program, paid for by the hotel, opens doors I'd never imagined. Corporate communication seminars, leadership workshops. It all validates the inherent strengths Veronica had taught me to doubt. For months after starting, I received my first promotion to Assistant Guest Services Manager, accompanied by a salary increase that pushes my annual income above $65,000. I can afford quality clothes, regular salon appointments, and most satisfyingly, a rapidly growing savings account. Word of my success begins filtering back to the Sterling Circle in ways that feel like cosmic justice. Linda Simmons, one of Veronica's closest country club friends, happens to stay at the Grandview Plaza for a business trip. She recognizes my name on the staff directory and specifically requests my assistance with corporate event arrangements. "You're Ethan's ex-wife, aren't you, dear?" Linda asks during our consultation. "Veronica mentioned you worked in hospitality, but she never said you were management at such a prestigious hotel." Linda's genuine surprise and subsequent glowing review of my professional competence, which quickly reaches Veronica through their social network, make it impossible for the Sterlings to minimize my achievements. Ethan's attempts to reconnect begin arriving via LinkedIn and social media messages I never answer. His texts grow increasingly desperate as he realizes what he has thrown away. But I have learned Veronica's lesson well. Don't trust people who only recognize your value after they've destroyed your chance to offer it. The divorce settlement proceedings work entirely in my favor. Ethan's video recording of the birthday ambush, intended to be evidence of my humiliation, becomes the key piece of evidence proving planned emotional cruelty. No judge will award alimony or shared assets to someone who had publicly orchestrated the humiliation of his spouse for entertainment. Veronica's carefully planned legal strategy backfires, completely protecting me from any financial obligation to the family who had treated me as disposable. 18 months after that night at the Hearthside Tavern, I am promoted again to Guest Services Manager, supervising a team of 12 coordinators. The position comes with a company car, an expense account, and a salary approaching $78,000 annually. The hotel's annual employee recognition ceremony becomes my moment of ultimate vindication. Standing on stage, accepting the award for exceptional customer satisfaction, I think about Veronica's desperate prayer. Her prayer had been answered, but not in the way she intended. She had prayed for Ethan to come to his senses. I had come to my senses, choosing self-respect over a sham marriage. The ultimate revenge wasn't causing them pain. It was proving that their cruelty had been based on their own insecurity, not an accurate evaluation of my character. Veronica's need to diminish me had only succeeded in revealing her own profound limitations. Her decorated birthday envelope had contained the greatest gift possible: liberation from people who had never deserved the effort I spent trying to earn their love. I stand in my corner office, look out at the Seattle skyline, and feel grateful for every criticism that had pushed me toward this magnificent, hard-won independence.